Okay, go ahead.
Great. No, I'm grateful to be on here. Finally, I was able to. I don't necessarily disagree, and I say in the most humblest manner, I am a Muslim,
Okay,
and I say, I want to disagree. Oh, just humor me. And
okay.
our women today that come on, I watch you, and it pains me sometimes. Their behaviors, matter, the way that they don't listen. And I'm divorced. I have three grown children, four from my husband.
Hmm.
Um, I think I might have a chance
So, what do
because
you disagree about? What do you disagree with?
that a woman my age, the possibility of me finding a man or a man finding me or being chosen, um, I disagree. I think with the behaviors of my sisters, how unfortunate. I think that there's a great possibility. I don't need a six-figure man.
Okay, you talking about you, or you talking about your sisters?
Me,
Okay.
yes.
A blind squirrel can find a nut.
No, 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 no. I listen
What?
to.
This
Okay, I let you speak
nigga.
unmolested. A
What the fuck?
a blind squirrel can look up and find a nut.
Mhm.
Fucking
What
dead,
percentage
bro.
chance would you give the average 50 plus year old unmarried black woman at finding a husband?
Hold on, let's
50%.
answer that. Let's honestly answer that real quick, man. Let's honestly answer that because sometimes Kevin be on that shit, or we don't know actually. I'm about to see. I'm revisiting Kevin Samuels' content, man, with an open eye and with like a different mindset. So, like that squirrel, like a blind squirrel can find a nut. That nigga funny, bro. I would say a husband, right? Let's say a husband, and let's say there's 100 men of all races around her same age. I would say maybe like 20% maybe would step out. 23%, 23 out of 100. Would you say? What do you think? What would you say, man? I think a good 23%. Cuz husband, right? Husband 50, maybe 20, 30. I don't know. It would have to be somewhere between 20 and 40 maybe, right? 20 and 40. But like I kind of think like 20 out of 100, right?
And yeah, yeah.
She said
You
50%.
can't make this shit up.
Jarvis,
He rolled for that, baby.
Ma'am, 1 in 4 black women will marry in their lifetime.
Oh
And you're
shit.
saying that women over 50 have a twice as likely chance. Please explain to us why.
well, thank you for the opportunity. And just in response to the conversations that you have, the attitudes, the non-cooperativeness. Yes, I am an older woman. I'm not looking for a six-figure income man. I'm an average woman. So just on that alone, no, just
But
that
ma'am,
alone.
what you're explaining is why you're giving women a 50% opportunity to find a husband over age 50. That's what you said. You said,
Yeah. Well,
okay. Well, then, but you understand that black women today, all age ranges, 26% will marry, right?
okay, right.
So you're saying that that number doesn't matter. If you're over 50, you got a 50-50 shot of getting a husband. That's
I mean, the statistics sound nice, but let's be honest. If we would still have to kind of like the numbers don't necessarily correlate, right? They relate, but they don't necessarily correlate. And the reason why is because we got to think about what is the average age that most black men or just men in general start looking to be a husband. I'm pretty sure it's a lot later than women start to be try to become wives, right? And so I think that and if he said over 50, I personally feel as if like we want to think that all men over 50 are just big baller status out here, and they're not. A lot of these 50-year-old men out here are really not out here having like super young girlfriends and shit like that. You guys, like, that's just not happening for the average 50-year-old man. And so 50-year-old man plus is looking for a wife. I don't think he's going to be necessarily as picky, because they're looking for stability and they're looking for like someone to take care of them when they get sick. At that point, it's not necessarily about like fucking physical attraction, especially if that person at 50, that man at 50 isn't on his like quote unquote shit all the way. He's just like a regular worker, you know what I'm saying? So I don't think that's nearly far as far fetched as she's really making it claim to be, or as Kevin Samuels is making the claim to be. At like the 50%, maybe not necessarily 50%, but of the guys that she's dating, she's probably saying maybe 50% of the guys she's dated. Because yeah, I mean, I feel like if she's going on a date at that point, probably 50% of the men that are going on a date with her kind of want something with her. You know what I mean? Because it's not for sex. You know what I'm saying? And maybe it is for sex, but like I would say, yeah, I don't think she's that wrong, honestly. Like for real.
It's mathematically implausible. You can't make that math work. Why would you have a better chance to get married over 50 than you do at 20?
Oh, I didn't say in comparison to a 20-year-old. So my response is this: at my age, and you stating also, I can't give you the numbers that
Mm-hmm.
the men my age are looking for the younger women, and just by
Fine.
listening to your platform,
Fine.
eh,
I'm listening. I'm going ahead.
oh yeah, some of us are not prepared. We're not wives, and like I said, humor me. It's just
I think
just from
that
this.
I think that you're saying one. You saying two black women. You saying 100 black women, 50 years or older. Just say 50 years old. You're saying in a room of 100 single black women, 50 years old. You're saying 50 of them will get married.
Yeah, that's what I said. I would like change my answer, but I said humor me, yeah, because of the behaviors of my sisters,
Okay.
my black women. Yeah, I mean, I listen to your platforms, and sometimes it pains me the responses that we give, and
I
we
don't.
don't even listen.
I don't
We
think
don't even.
you're. I don't think you're. I think you're misunderstanding what I'm saying,
I,
ma'am. If there were today, the number says that one in four, 20 in that room of 100 black women, only 26 of them will get married. And what you're saying is, I think that women over 50, if I gave you a room of 150-year-olds, 50 of them will get married. That doesn't make any sense. The number's supposed to be much less.
okay, great. So
So you saying that, and when you came in and saying you don't think that I give the women a fair shot, you think that women my age is not over, and I'm like, yeah, it is.
yeah, what is the first thing I said also was humor me though, but
Okay.
no,
The
because
reason
like
why
I
the
said,
reason why it makes sense is because they're doing fractions. Kevin's actually kind of wrong on this. I dare I say, oh my God, people come in the comments down below to me say how stupid I am. Listen, here it is. 25% of all black women are gonna get married. Of that 25%, we're gonna cut that down even further of a percent, which is of those 25% of the of black women that do get married, how many of them are over 50, right? How many of them are over 50? Or actually, my bad. Let's just 25%. Let's separate all the women of that 25% that is above the age of 50, right? So now we have a different percentage, right? So let's say of 25% of the women that do get married, right? Listen. Hold on. I got it. Of the 25%, we're going to take How many of those women that were over 50% or over 50 years old, we take that number, and here's another percentage, right? And so let's just say out of 100, whatever percentage of the married women that, man, I don't know if I like explaining this shit, man. He's just wrong. He's just kind of wrong with it, man. Because like I gotta sit down with paper and shit and run it out though, because the numbers can relate, right? The numbers can relate. So fuck it. Maybe I'm speaking out of my ass. God damn it. It makes sense in your head, and I think that's where she's at. It makes sense in her head. She just doesn't have the words to be able to properly articulate it so that you could picture what she's seen in her head and in her mind and how she fucking like came up with the calculations. We have to really sit down with like a pen and paper or something like that. And that means I failed. I failed and I'm wrong. His argument is better than mine, and I will sit here and admit that, man. So you know, maybe he is right. I think he is right on it. I mean, she's definitely not right, but I don't think it's as far fetched. That's what I've said at the beginning. Don't think she's necessarily right, but it's not as far fetched off from what I think, Kevin is like what she's trying to tell Kevin.
I'm not looking for a six-figure income.
I
I
get it.
understand what
I get it. It doesn't have to be six figures, man.
average, yeah. And like
Hmm.
you say, yeah, I agree. There's a lot of single men out here that's looking for women. I
But they're
know
not looking
that
for 50-year-old women.
what, yeah.
They're not looking for 50-year-old women. That's why I started asking women the question, what is life going to look like for you at 50?
Mm,
See, I understand, man, because you're in this position, and what women in your position have left, all you have is hope.
God
You know
damn.
what? I'm
Listen,
not a
listen,
hope. I'm
listen,
not.
listen, listen. I
God
didn't say
damn.
you. I said women in your position, because life has changed. When you were 21, women were in the driver's seat. You could determine if and when you went out. You determined if you went out on a date. You darn sure determined when sex happened, and you determined when the babies happened. That was 100% up to women. Men had to try to figure out the combination. We had to keep trying to come back, like going to the carnival, trying to win those little prizes. And y'all knew the combination, and y'all relished that because it was all weighted on your side. But what happens over age 30, the game changes. But in our community, because black don't crack, and of our culture, our women don't get the memo until they're almost 40, and it's 10 years too late. So many women are starting to, after 35, start to really start, "Oh, I want to be a wife and have, but it's too late for many. So I talk to women who were over 45, and they're asking, where can I go find husbands and this and that? I'm like, where are the 60-year-old men looking to marry you? There are no men looking to marry you.
Yeah.
If a man is 50, it's like I'm 52. If I were going to remarry, why would I marry a woman 50 and I can marry a woman that's 28?
Oh, is that a question? No, I
Yeah.
understand that. But
But
believe
that's
me,
that's why I said that's why I say the percentage chances are much lower because
and
go ahead.
okay, then I will agree with that. When I first started, I said, humor me.
Hmm.
I have gentleman friend 50 years old, and we have these type of conversations. You're gonna marry if you meet someone, Samir, they're gonna be your age or older. That I
Hmm.
understand. Now, mind you, I was married for 22 years.
Hmm.
I understand that. First of all, you said that we will want a stepdad. I have a 13-year-old son, and no, I don't. So, I'm not waiting like I have time, but I understand those
Well,
things.
ma'am, I didn't say that
And
specifically to you. Okay, please don't
no,
apply.
no,
Well, when I say stepdad, ma'am, if you're marrying, the man will be a stepfather.
but yeah, mhm,
Okay, so that's just a statement of fact.
yeah, yeah. So
But you and your husband were married. Why did you guys divorce?
because we never communicated where we were, what we
Okay,
wanted,
all
we
right.
never ever
So how
really
long have
sat
you
down
guys
and
been
talked.
divorced?
Um, that's a good question. And have to
No,
say,
it's just a legal question.
uh, Wow, maybe I have to sit down because legally we're still married. We're just not together. He is in another relationship right now. So,
But you have a legal state marriage,
yes,
so
yes.
why not just do things the right way and just dissolve it?
End it.
Yeah,
Yeah, and I listen to what you say. So he
because you
has.
can't move into another situation even if.
Ooh. Oh shit. But I mean, it's also on the man's side as well. I don't. They're both not done with each other. At the end of the day, you still want someone there with you, especially that late in the game. You need to be attached to somebody, man. And I think it's so hard to admit that, man. And Kevin's really digging at that point. He's digging at the heart, bro. He's penetrating so deep, like pause. It's to the point where you really gotta speak from your soul and your like the depths of your body and your being. You know what I mean? That's what it's really about at that point. She's still married to him because at the end of the day, you spent so much time with this person. You gotta be attached to them. There's nothing can break that bond. You know what I mean? You may hate each other. That's why they say it's a thin line between love and hate.
It presented itself.
Yeah, so he had he has a two family income. It would be plausible that he is the one that spends the money and filed for a divorce. He's moved on with his life. I agree. I'm not a bitter woman, you know. So
But okay, one thing that I understand with us, we just like we don't do things in order. Do you want to be remarried?
um I would like to be, yeah, I do.
Okay. Um. Well, if you're not living together and he's in another relationship, the divorce needs to happen. But all I'm saying is that I'm a strong advocate for families staying together because when's the last time you had a date?
She didn't like
Two
that. She, you
years
know, I
ago.
mean, and it's not necessarily she didn't like that, but like, you see what she did with her lips, man. This is another thing too, man. Kevin wasn't always just about fucking like giving the
Um,
harsh reality to women.
well,
He was about that
if
as
you're
well,
not
but
living
also,
together and he's in another
you know what I mean.
relationship,
Listen to this part right here.
the divorce needs to happen. But all I'm saying is that I'm a strong advocate for families staying together
You know what I
because
mean? That's what it's about,
when's the last
family.
time you had a date?
See that with her lips, man.
2 years ago, I went out on a date.
She knew
Okay,
And
where he was going with it, but she didn't want to swallow her pride, man.
it,
ma'am. So how? Okay, so due respect. 2 years ago, you had a date,
mhm,
and you're 50. At
yes.
that rate, you're not going to remarry. One date every 2 years don't cut it. And I'm tired of seeing black women dying alone.
Ooh, yeah.
And it's like, well, we didn't get together, we didn't talk together. I don't care. I said this on Instagram last night. A woman asked me a question. She said she got married early on, had 6 kids, and she asked me, "Well, now my ex-husband is snooping, sniffing back around." And you know, I told her point blank. I told my ex-wife she's remarried. I told her if she hadn't gotten remarried, and if I got to be around 60 something, 65 years old, and she was still in marriage, I'm like, oh, look here, we ain't got another but 10 years in this piece. We just need to go ahead and get remarried again and live in the house and do it for the family. You go to your front room, I'll go back over here.
Amen. Mhm.
Because this is stupid. My, I think the biggest gift we as Generation X can give to the black community is saying we got bad information and we made bad relationship decisions. We didn't do it right. We had the war on drugs, crack, HIV, AIDS, Reaganomics. We had a lot. We had Generation
You know what?
X.
And that's what it's about too, man. I'm gonna say this real quick too, and I'm gonna kind of let him finish with it. Let me see how much longer he's got. He's got a minute with him, man. So I don't think we're gonna finish the whole call, but like that's where I'm at this point in my life too, right here, right? It's not to say families don't work and people don't want families. I think for me, if anything, man, is to understand that at a certain point, you just not gonna give me enough pussy. like honestly, like let's just be real about it. We're not gonna be able to have sex the way that we want to, or you're not gonna do it for me the way that I need to, and I still got my urges and stuff like that. And so you gotta be okay with me sleeping with other women. It's not about a family thing. It's about desires. It's about actual physical needs. You know what I'm saying? And I think a lot of men have been shamed of not wanting and not being able to pursue that. And we've got to be able to demand that so much more in a very respectful, healthy kind of way. And that's what it's about. Families can exist. I am here to provide for you and protect you. But I'm going to stay on my grind. I'm continue to develop. I'm going to continue to get value. I'm going to continue to look more attractive. If you aren't doing the same, if you still want to keep this family together, I'm okay with it. But you got to understand that I'm going to do what I got to do. Just because you're living your life the way that you want to lead, and I'm living my life disciplined in the way that I want to live it, doesn't mean that I can't benefit the fruits from the labor of my decisions. Our lives are together, but we're on this little path together. That doesn't mean that every decision and all of our fruits are going to be the same. No. I am going to choose you first to share all my resources and success with. But I'm not going to deny what I've worked hard my entire life for. I'm not going to do it, especially if I want it. I worked for it. And she's got to be okay with that. And that's what it's about. Those are the women that are worthy of starting a family with, because things will happen. It's not to say that you want to just willingly cheat on your wife and just willingly, and it's not cheating at that point. It's not to say that you just willingly want to sleep with all these women all the time. It's if the opportunity arises, it's not breaking the family. It's not breaking anything for you to exercise that opportunity. That's what it's about. The freedom for it. And then even possibly even having a couple girlfriends on the side, like 2 girlfriends and a wife. Let's do it. You know what I mean?
I think history is going to be very sympathetic to us because we're almost like another lost generation. We never really had a chance. We're sandwiched between the baby boomers and millennials. But what we could do to the younger generation is tell them we should have stayed together.
And, man, and and I
And
agree.
it doesn't
And I
mean
wanted to
always sleeping together. You can stay together, but it doesn't mean you guys share the same life. You know what I mean?
share this with you too. I agree. I think that it did not do my children a justice. I have a 21-year-old,
Mhm.
18, 17, 13-year-old, and I think that it put something on their brains. I
Mhm.
don't it wasn't a positive for them. We were married for 22 years.
Right.
Yeah,
Is he
yeah, my daughter
remarried?
no,
Is he remarried?
no, he's living with someone.
Psst, they can go away.
But well, maybe I'll
Y'all are
book a
still
session
legally
because
married. Y'all are still legally married. And the
yeah.
way, and if I'm gonna use my Thanos glove, I'd snap that chick away, and y'all sit down and have a conversation with people, and we'd say y'all need to sit y'all's ass down and figure out how to y'all talk to each other on Tuesday and Thursday, and leave each other alone the rest of the week. You go front room, he go in the back room. Y'all live in the same house. You give him his insulin shot, he rub your feet, and then when he die, he be in the ground. When you die, you be in the ground next to him, and your kids can come see their mom and daddy next to each other, like we got a chance to goddamn see. I am
Yeah.
sick of seeing black graveyards with families upon families upon families, and we're going to be the first mother freaking generation of single people buried out there by ourselves. This is it's the one gift we can give them because we can't go back and we can't go back and undo. We made the best decisions we could with the information we had. We didn't want to end it this way, but for us that are still here, we can tell these young folks, stay together.
Yeah.
Stop trying to look for something else out here. You don't want to be out here doing this. So
Oh,
y'all are still legally married. This woman I talked to
Man,
yesterday,
that's such a good point, bro. Like Kevin was able to remember a time, and it's crazy to think about that, man. He was able to remember a time when you would go to the graveyard to see your ancestors, mom and dad would be together. Grandfather and grandma would be together. I haven't gone to many funerals, and I hope you haven't either, but it's not like it's gonna be like that anymore, you know? That's really it's interesting. It's interesting. What you guys think about this in the comments down below, man? And it is your brother Trey. I'm gonna go ahead and end off on this one.